Okay, welcome to another day. It's a nice, beautiful day out here, out in the woods. Um, I was just thinking about how evolutionists have to prove evolution, which they never gave one example of evolution. Um, and they insist all the time. What up, Iger? How you doing? They insist all the time that we prove our position, that we prove that there's a God, and they can't prove a natural cause. So this is not a small thing. It's uh, it's just a one-sided attack on creation because there's no history or anything before the creation of the world. There's no evidence of anything before the history of mankind. And their assumption that history existed before the history of mankind is just an assumption. Hello, Lori's fine. How are you doing? What do you mean they gave a bunch of cartoon examples? Oh, yeah, they gave some lines and they drew some pictures, and that's their evidence, which is not scientific evidence. Um, what we need to find is some actual evidence for evolution, which would be they would have to show us beneficial mutations, not just like sickle cell anemia, which is not beneficial, or any other kind of supposed beneficial mutation or reactivation of part of the genome that was already there. That's not a beneficial mutation because the information was already there. When it comes down to it, they don't have any evidence of evolution. Just the same as atheism can't tell you anything, evolution can't, or evolutionism can't. It can't evolve a leg to stand on. It can't prove its own supposed existence because the natural cause is an assumption, and it's assumed based on hello, honesty angel. It's assumed based on the fact that we are here, so we had to evolve. And the assumption is that we did evolve, but there's no mechanism to evolve. That everything is always forced to be what it is as far as the elements and molecules are concerned, and everything does what it's directed to do as far as biology is concerned. And we have a known human history. We have the Y chromosome, we have the mtDNA chromosome, or mitochondrial DNA, and they all have a genetic distance. And the genetic distance follows our known genealogies going back to Noah. Of course, these are known people in history, they're known actual genealogies that we actually have. We have all the names between, say, myself and Noah. We don't have all the, I don't have all the individual genealogies of all the people, of all my grandparents going back to Noah, but some of the genealogies of some of my grandparents do go back all the way to Noah. And they'll go back all the way through Africa, Spain, you know, France. They'll go through all different kind of places all the way back to known historical figures such as Cleopatra and all these people which have known genealogies and the lines of the kings. We have mostly the genealogies of the kings are known to a great extent or to some extent, and they all go back to Noah. They go back to known people in history. So we can follow these lines of evidence using the Y chromosome and the mtDNA and verify these genealogies to known people going all the way back. What's up, Red Fang? How are you doing? No, I apologize for my connection is not as good as what it used to be. I'm using a cell phone. I'm on my computer, but I'm using a cell phone for a connection, so it's not the greatest connection in the world. So for right now, that's the best I can do. Um, so it'll make kind of funny sounds probably. Unless I go back home. We're still talking about this. Well, I'm talking about evolution in general. Um, the fact that there's no evidence of evolution. It's just an assumption based on the idea that we had to have evolved because we're here. But still, there's no evidence of evolution. The evidence is of creation, and you're saying, no, we weren't created, we evolved. But there's no evidence that we evolved. And that's the problem, is that you have to have evidence. Otherwise, it's not scientific. And if you want to believe in science and you want to be scientific, you have to produce evidence, and there's no evidence for any amount of evolution. So let me just go through and explain what you need to present as evidence for evolution. You need to show specific mutations or changes in the DNA that are beneficial and not just beneficial, but there has to be multiple beneficial mutations. In other words, you can't just have one mutation that causes sickle cell anemia and say that's a beneficial mutation. It's not a beneficial mutation. You have to have multiple complementary beneficial mutations, not just one, not just two, not just three, but billions of them in order for evolution to exist. So since you can't do that, you can't prove evolution, and you can't say that it's science because there is no science supporting evolution, any amount of evolution. Now we have alterations, we have adaptations, we have response to the environment, we have a whole bunch of things that will tend to warp in a warp thing. We have examples. We have known living animals that have been warped by their environment. For example, we have a frog that lives in a fast-moving stream, and since it's a fast-moving stream that's oxygenated, it lost its ability, his lung capacity shrunk so that it can hardly breathe. But it gets its oxygen through the fast moving stream that's oxygenated, so that he doesn't have to breathe nearly as much. And he actually lost his capacity to breathe the way a regular frog would do. So that's an example of a warping of a known of existing animal that's living today. Let's see what lawyers find say. Okay, let's see. Iger says, especially when you realize the Earth is only about 6,000 years old. Yeah, our history goes back 6,000 years old, and that's it. We don't have any more history. And their assumption is that we do have more than 6,000 years old, but there really is no evidence of that. Louisa Fine says, I found an Anukai cartoonish because within the first few minutes aboard their spaceship, they stabbed their uncle during the disagreement. And who cleaned up the biological waste? Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. I mean, I've heard of the Anukai, but it's, yeah, maybe that's a story that they have relating their history or something. And Iger says atheism is a dying religion. Yeah, it never was anything. It never was proved because every claim of evolution has always been disproved. There is not a single evolutionary claim that has ever been validated. Not one. And that's what the problem is. Except for, let me see, except for all the time that it does. There's Johnny Miller. Hello, Johnny Miller. How you doing? If you would like, you could join. um, we'll just have a simple discussion, if you would like. But you have to give an example. You said, except for the, where am I? We got Iger here. Sorry about that. But you have to. What's up, Iger? How you doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I got to turn down my volume because you're yelling in my ear. All right. Yeah, that should be good.
Yeah, should be.
Okay.
I don't got
Yeah,
much time, honestly. I'm about to go get some food, but you got 15 minutes to kill. You want to chit chat?
All
But I
right.
agree with you on all the evolution stuff. I actually enjoy listening to you because you got a lot of good insight on a lot of stuff. Actually, I'm a young, recently young Earth creationist. I only came to the conclusion that the Earth was young. I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago.
Give an example. You said yeah, because the thing is because what we're told all these assumptions, and we just take it for granted as if it was true, and then we come find out, wait a minute, what if it's not true?
It's not. I thought I came from a fish for the longest time. It's actually it's good. It makes you like accept the Bible a lot quicker. It makes it easier to read once you realize that basically everything the corporate control Hollywood media programs you with since you're born is total lie. Dinosaurs included, man. Gosh, that was eye opening when I realized that dinosaurs never actually existed as they're presented to us in cartoons like Littlefoot and Jurassic Park. No
Yeah.
such thing as a prehistoric period or
Yeah,
whatever period.
you're right. There's no prehistoric period. It's just history. It's just.
I like saying the word dinosaur wasn't even invented to 1842. by Sir Richard Owen. Before that, all the dinosaurs through all our mythologies were called dragons. And the Chinese got dragons, the Incans have dragons, Marco Polo sold dragons. So yeah, it's crazy. Evolution's a joke. It's dying. I don't even think people that even atheists don't believe in evolution anymore. Nobody thinks they came from a fish. All right, so I'm by myself apparently. Where'd you go, Jungle Jurgen? This is your show.
I'm back, I guess.
Yeah, man, you left me. I was about to go off on some rants.
Oh yeah, well, something happened. I just got kicked out of my own hangout, I guess.
How'd you do that?
I didn't touch anything. I wasn't touching anything. So that happened,
That's funny.
yeah, well, I don't have the best connection here.
That's cool.
I got Matt Bond here. Got Matt Bond. Okay, Johnny Miller had a response here. I got to put him up there.
Matt Bond, how he could still think he comes from a fish is beyond me. He's always on all the Christian chat rooms.
Yeah, Matt Bond should
What's
know
up, Matt
everything
Bond?
by now. He should know everything by now, by this time. Fish is not a scientific term. You misunderstand evolution, does not disprove it. The fish is definitely a biological living organism. So it's definitely a real thing. I don't know how you can say it's not a scientific term. It's as scientific as anything. Science is what you can know. We know there's fish. Boom. Fish exist. So, Johnny, you can come in and make your case a little bit more clear, because you're not coming in very clear with these statements that you're writing here.
Johnny Miller thinks he still comes from a fish. A single cell organism that evolved from rock soup.
Yeah, but they don't even consider the amount of bottleneck that evolution has to go through to get here from there, because there's just all kinds of beneficial mutations that have to occur, billions and billions of beneficial mutations that never have been observed to occur, have to occur. And they just don't see it. They don't get it. They haven't seen it.
Nope. For all the transition
Yeah, well,
fossils but we got a nice.
I'm sorry you cut up on my end here.
No, I mean, like, the only proof they have for these transitional fossils are cartoons. Nobody's ever seen them before. Cartoons and lines on paper, just like Ken Hobbins says.
Of course, all the common ancestors are missing. Every last one of them. Johnny Miller says it's a colloquial term. It's not scientific. Well, I got news for you. You don't own science. Science is what you can know, and theology is the highest level of science. If you really want to know science, if you want to know the truth, if you want to know what's real, you have to study theology, because that's where the real science is. So you don't own science. Science is what you can know. So we can start off on that foothold, on that basis. Evolutionists don't know the truth. They don't tell the truth, so they're not scientific. We can say that too. Okay, have you ever heard of a steel steel man argument, maybe try representing us by what we actually say instead of the goofy garbage you claim we say. Well, you can deny that people say it all you want, but we know what you say. We hear it day in and day out. We're, like they say in Brazil, they say we're bald from knowing what you say. We're up to here with knowing every the things that you say, and so it's not like we don't know what you say. All the fossils are transitional, but nobody has seen them. Um, no, we've seen these fossils, and they all appear abruptly. They don't have a common ancestor. They don't have any ancestors, and they don't nothing before them and nothing after them, and many of them are living today. The fossils appear fully formed, fully functional, without any previous ancestors. Can Iger explain what a transitional fossil would be?
Oh, sorry. I stepped out.
Oh, Matt Bond wants to know if you can explain what a transitional fossil would be.
If I can explain what a transitional fossil would be?
That's his question, yeah, Matt Bond.
A fish with legs, maybe, or something. I don't know.
Yeah, a fish walking on land.
Fish walking on land. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, we have fish that's waddle on land. I don't know about walking on land.
Or the reptiles with feathers.
Yeah, feathers is unique. Is kind of a see. I would like to see the mutations of a scale morphing into a feather. I would like to see that. Be Ronan. Ronan is here. How you doing, Ronan? You could join if you wanted, but it'd probably be the same old back and forth. I wanted to get Johnny in here, but Johnny doesn't seem to want to join. He just wants to chat. He
Let's
wants
do up to 6 people, I think, right?
he wants to stay in the chat. I think so. I think about 6 people, yeah. And Matt Bond could join too, but he never joins. My camera's down. Well, I got my camera turned off because I don't want you to see my face. Because I have to put my sunglasses on. I don't know where I put them. Around here somewhere. I had my sunglasses here. I thought I had my sunglasses. Oh, I can't do the jungle jargon. Oh yeah, I got my sunglasses. Yeah, but
Hey, you know what? I've seen in Genesis where you can add up all the dates to like to Noah, but I always been curious. How do you add up the date from Noah to Jesus? Like, I know there's like I know there's a genealogy, but I don't know like in from Adam's to Noah's case, it tells you when each kid was born, so you can add up those dates and come up with how long the earth was around before the flood.
yeah,
But
it's exactly 1,656 years
right,
before the flood. But
my
after the
question,
flood is a little
yeah.
bit harder. But go ahead.
No, that was my question. Like, how do you how do you how do you how do you come up with because I do like telling people the Earth is about 6,000 years old. There's no way this Earth has been around for 4.5 billion years like they taught us in kindergarten. So I definitely think that's correct. But I was just curious. Sometimes people ask me like, it doesn't say that in the Bible, and you can, like you said, Adam to Noah, you can exactly say that. But I was kind of curious, how do you come up with from Noah to Jesus? Is it
Yeah,
just a
there's
genealogy?
genealogies.
I know there's two genealogies, one in Matthew, I think, and one in another one with the Gospels.
Yeah,
But
but
I mean,
there's actually even more than that. There's extra biblical genealogies too. And if you go to Jenny.com, they have a whole bunch of them. Sometimes they call them mythical genealogies, but they go back to the gods, and the gods were actually real people, but they deified their ancestors is what happened. But they were actual people, but they made up stories about them, about their ancestors, and that's basically what all the gods are. Zeus and all those people, they were actual people, and Zeus's genealogy actually goes back to the time of Noah. It doesn't necessarily connect to Noah, at least we don't know exactly how it connects, but it does go back to the time of Noah, which
I
is
always,
all of history. All of history is like that. It only goes back to Noah. It doesn't go back farther.
I always thought all the fallen angels were like before the flood, but it's not my field of expertise. So I enjoy hearing your opinion.
Well, yeah, the fallen angels is a belief basically. I don't believe. Hold on, we got Jesus is Lord is here. Sorry about that. Shalom, Jesus is Lord. How you doing? You can enter and join too if you want, if you would like. If you want to bother. Who's in here? Is this Ronan? That's Ronan. We got Ronan. How you doing, Ronan?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yeah, you sound good.
You have a nice radio voice, Roland.
Oh, thanks.
No problem. What do you think,
Yeah.
Roland? Are you an atheist, or you think evolution's a big scam, one of the biggest scams to be presented to us since we're babies?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I'm atheist, but evolution is a different thing. We're talking science there. So yeah, I support it because science has explained it to me, and that's it. What I get from the other side, so to speak, is just like, well, no, that's wrong. No, that's wrong. The Bible, and then I ask for a citation, and it's like then it goes to, no, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. Where science explains it to me, lays it out. So I've always sided with science.
Yeah, we side with science too.
No, you don't. You come up with from my experiences with you. You came up with these images, graphs, and they all pointed to one place, and you deny what your evidence shows. So,
Well, I disproved what they were trying to say.
no, you didn't. You're just saying it. Saying it is not actual refutation or
Well,
proving anything.
let me ask you this: do you know what genetic distance is?
Genetic distance
Yeah.
in terms of like
In
genealogy.
terms of say the Y chromosome, or
Okay.
even empty DNA. Empty DNA too is the same thing. Genetic distance.
Well, like your information showed, it traces Adam to Africa. So it was your information that I was going by. I wasn't trying to bring in what I know.
No, that was the tippy tip of the end of the tree branch. It wasn't.
Again, but you keep going to that. But I want to know about the trunk and the root. And that's
Right.
the point. Huh?
Well, we did. You saw the root, right? You saw
Yes,
where the root was.
It was Adam in Africa, according to your information, not mine.
No.
Yes,
Not with genetic distance. Did you see the genetic distance chart?
No, I didn't see that one. What was it?
Yeah.
That little spider web chart thing?
Yeah, the spider web
Again,
chart. That was a
again, that one also disagreed with your statement.
that was genetic distance. Did you see how far I was from the A00?
Again, but how far you were makes you connected to A00, which means you're
Right.
part black.
No, it means that we all came from Noah, because we're all connected through Noah.
Okay, now again, that chart or graph did not agree with what you were saying. That's what we were pointing out. It was Johnny, I forget his last name, but it was Johnny and myself. We were pointing that out to you, quite clearly, but you kept denying it.
No, no, the genetic distance shows that I have to go all the way back to the root, which is Noah, and then it branches out the other way, all the
Well,
way to A00.
excuse me, Noah would not be the root. It would be Adam according to your model. It would be Adam.
Well, it is Adam, but because Noah came from Adam, the problem is that everybody else died in the flood, so we have to go back to Noah with the Y chromosome.
Again, but your information doesn't agree with what you're saying.
The mtDNA haplogroups, they go back to Eve. They have to go back to Eve because there were three wives of the sons of Noah that were descended from.
Yes, but now you're changing. You're moving. What is it? Moving the goalpost. Yeah, that's the point. If you're not explaining it to me, all you're doing is denying it, and what information you do provide contradicts what you're saying. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking for you or anyone on your side to explain it to me. I would change my mind immediately, but you can't do that, and haven't been able to. That's all I'm asking.
I explained it many times.
No,
Explained
no,
it many,
no,
many times to you.
no. Again, but you're doing the same pattern of behavior right now. It's the same pattern. What is it? Circles. You're talking in circles.
No, I'm just following the evidence. The evidence
No, you're not, because if you follow
shows.
the evidence, if you found something that disagreed with what you imagine, you don't change your mind.
No, I'm following the evidence of the Y
I
chromosome and the mtDNA.
Well, again, that evidence disagrees with what you're saying.
Let me go ahead and say hello to Levi Khan. How are you
Go
doing?
ahead, please.
Not too bad yourself. What are you guys arguing about? Creationists?
I don't mean to cut you off, Ronan. I just wanted to acknowledge Levi Khan here,
Oh, no problem, please.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
if he's there. I guess he's.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I had to leave because somebody tried to call me and it screws up my volume and I can't hear you guys very easily. So anyway,
No, that's okay.
are you guys debating creationism versus evolution or what?
Well, I was trying to explain to Roman the genetic distance. Do you know anything about the genetic distance?
Nah, that's not really my specialty. No.
My bad.
Whoa.
Okay, we got Iger. We got Iger. Iger's back.
My bad.
Yeah,
I've been all this time. Let me leave on the other thing.
Okay. All right. Let me see. Hours and hours and hours wavering. I tried to explain for hours and hours. I tried to explain the Y chromosome and the genetic distance to Ronan, but he still keeps on saying that I didn't explain it to him correctly or good enough.
No, your information disagrees with your claim.
Let's say once you realize the current size is full.
Sorry, I don't know. I closed the window on my phone. I'm trying to log out of it.
Okay. Let's see. You don't have. Well, I'll tell you what genetic distance is, and I hope Johnny Miller's not listening. because he has to know what genetic distance is too. See, what research paper can you cite showing Zeus traces back to Noah? No, I'm just saying that the history of the gods and the genealogies of the gods, the Greek gods, which is Zeus and all those people, traces back to the time of Noah. That's all I said. Because Zeus was actually born a couple hundred years after Abraham. And the only thing is that they deified their ancestors. That's the reason why Zeus is considered a god, because they deified their ancestors, because that's who brought them here. That's who made their existence possible. So they just deify their ancestors.
Zeus was a mythological figure.
He was a deified ancestor.
Okay, fine.
And he was actually born after Abraham.
Okay. I'm using your model again.
But they have to be real people. There were real people that people descended from, and it all goes back to the time of Noah. That's what I'm saying. All of history goes back to the time of Noah.
But I disagree. Obviously, there were other civilizations that had their own gods. Hinduism, for example, started before the New Testament. So it's a different story, and you're conflating two different stories. How does that work?
No, they're stories of actual people that actually existed.
I
Real people.
never said they were false. Again, I'm using your information, and on that model, I want to see if it works. And it seems to be that you're putting in different elements from different times and history and different cultures to try to justify your position versus explaining to me outright how that mechanism works.
I just did a Google search, and according
Yeah,
to
I did.
Google,
I did on a number of occasions.
it started in 1500.
No. Right now,
I
you would
showed
be.
you. I showed
right
you
now,
on the graph. I showed you on the graph the genetic distance between me and A00.
Yes, but again, your information disagrees with you, and you're saying that it is wrong.
No, it's wrong to say that the people that everybody descended from somebody on the end of a tree branch.
Again, that there was no alphanumeric designation for Noah on that spider graph that you showed me.
Yeah, Noah is A through R, Ronan. Noah is everybody.
According to that graph, right? It was Adam is A. That's what you're denying or disagreeing with, because that's what. Put it this way again.
No, Adam is not. But
How
listen,
people
Ronan.
telling him
Adam,
what his chart represents. That's funny.
Adam is not on the tippy tip of the end of the tree branch. He's at the root. Adam is at the root, not at the tip of the tree branch. And A00 is at the tip of the tree branch.
That would be Adam.
No, he's not on he's not the leaves on the very tip of the tree branch.
No, that's according to your information. I'm going with your information, not what I know.
Adam is no. You're not going with the information, because Adam is the root, not the leaves on the tip of the tree branch. A00 is a leaf at the tip of the tree branch. Somebody
Okay.
they took the DNA from that's living today. That's A00.
No, that's not what
And-
your. That's not
And
what your information.
A000.
That wasn't your information. That's the point I'm making.
No,
And if you're saying Adam is the root, okay, let's just use that. If Adam is the root and there was a flood, that means somewhere in the trunk everything got cut off. So you would have to have a new root. So that would be Noah. Is that what you're saying? It's another tree now?
no, Noah is from Adam. Noah is
Yes,
descended
so
from
how-
Adam. We have the genealogies. It was exactly 1,656 years from the time of the flood to Adam,
Okay.
to the creation, actually.
Okay. So how could that work out if Adam lived 900 years?
It does work. You just have to add up all the things we were just talking about it earlier.
You said it's 1,000 something years, and
Yeah, from the time of the flood.
Adam lived.
Adam,
According to the claim, is that Adam lived 900 years. So,
which is
you're
which is
saying
not.
within 100 years, all those generations passed to get to
But
Noah.
what I'm saying is that Adam died before the flood came.
Yes, I agree with you, but you said it was 1,500 something. So with 900, if
1,600.
no, I'm saying that if it's 900 years for Adam and it's 1,500, whatever you said, if I subtracted that, it would be 600 and something. So you're saying all those generations between Adam and Noah lived within that short time span
We
compared.
have all the generations. We have exactly when everybody was born, so we can know the exact time between the flood and creation is 1,656 years exactly.
Okay, but Adam lived 900 years or 800 years, whatever that is.
It doesn't
And
matter.
how many generations between Adam and Noah? If you add that up, that's more than
It's
1,500
it's
years.
something like 10 generations. I forget exactly, but it's something like
And how
10
many years
generations.
did each generation live?
They all lived like 900 years.
Okay,
But what's your point?
if I add all those numbers up, right, all those numbers and compared it to the original statement of
But Ronan,
1,000.
you have to study it. You have to study it before you can
No, no,
talk about it.
no. What it comes down to is you don't know. You're being evasive because you're trying to promote a narrative that is based on a figment of the imagination. I'm fully
What
aware.
narrative are you trying to
I'm
promote?
fully aware. I'm fully aware that your God or any God is a figment of the imagination because man did not know at the time, and they deduced something to explain the unknown. That's understandable. I'm not faulting those people. They, like we are, ignorant. Okay, and it's two different things: the mind and reality. You want to base it on the mind, the spiritual aspect of things.
No,
There's
I'm
nothing wrong.
basing it,
There's nothing wrong with that, but
Ronan, I'm
it
basing
holds
it on
it
known
no because it
historical
holds no
record.
water. It holds no water in reality. You know, you can have your God like other people have their gods, whatever God that may be. That's a good thing in your mind, but in reality, it's a different thing because you cannot prove it. Right? You can't come up with the actual statements, the data, the math, the links, if you will, to
Well, we're talking
show.
about the actual genealogy. The
Well, okay,
actual
okay.
genealogy.
Do you understand that everything you're saying about genealogy is based on your emotions?
Hey, well, what's up? No, it's what the genealogy says.
No, no, please,
Has
just
nothing to do
answer.
with
Do you?
emotions.
No, I'm just asking you to address the question. Do you realize that what you're believing in and what's happening in reality are two different things?
All I did was talk about
Look, I know you
what
don't
the
want to.
genealogy is. That's the only thing I'm talking about.
Yes, but
Is
again,
what the genealogy is.
your information, not mine. It's what confuses matters because you're saying that if Adam lived 900 years, whatever that is, and from Adam to Noah is 1,500 years, it doesn't make sense because if you add up the generations between the two, you're going to have more than 1,500 plus years.
Ronan, like I said, you have to know the genealogy.
No. That's a classic.
Before you can talk about it, you have to know what the
I do,
evidence, what the genealogy is.
but you will explain it to me.
They
If it hadn't made sense before, explain it to me so it makes sense now, please.
because Adam had sons, Cain and Abel. Abel was eliminated. Then he had a son, Seth. Okay, so we know when Seth was born. We know when Seth had a kid. And we know all of the people, all the names of the people, when they were born, all the way up to the time of the flood. And we know the day of the flood. And it's exactly 1,656 years between the time of the creation and the flood.
Okay.
Because we know exactly when everybody was born in those 10 generations or whatever it was.
All right.
It's
All
from
right.
Genesis 5. If you want, I can read it real quick.
But it's totally irrelevant. It's totally irrelevant. The fact is that we do have genealogies.
Well, okay. Add up. You said Adam lived 800 years, 900 years, and how long did Cain live?
It doesn't matter. Cain is not in the
Right
genealogy.
there, right
It goes
there,
through
right
Seth.
there, right there, right there. It doesn't matter. Yes, it does matter
It
because
goes, Ronan,
no,
it goes, it doesn't go
no.
through Cain.
Well, no,
All the
you're
descendants of Cain died in the flood. It goes through Seth.
again. No, that's not what I was going at
The
because
genealogy goes through Seth.
I'm trying to add up those generations between Adam
But
and
you,
Noah.
what do
Add
you
up
care?
how many years is that?
What do you care about it, Ronan?
Because
You
you
don't seem
pointed.
to care.
No, I was asking you to explain it to me so you could maybe convince me or someone could convince me from your side of this issue. And I already told you that it's of your if it's of your mind, it's an emotion. You have a right to that, but it doesn't comport with reality.
It
Two
goes
different things.
when people were born.
What doesn't comport with reality? The genealogy?
Yes,
We
because
have the genealogy.
no, because you're
What doesn't comport with reality is that you don't have a genealogy. You don't have anything. All
well,
you're
no,
doing is you're attacking the evidence that we have.
no.
Yeah.
Right now, all I have is simple mathematics.
You want me to read the Genesis 5 genealogy? Maybe it'll make sense to you. Because you don't go when they die, you go when they
Hello?
had kids, and then you add that up.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, Jungle Jurgen.
Is this working?
It's working. Can you hear me?
Hello? Hello?
All right,
Well,
Genesis 5.
I don't even know if this is on, but we do have an actual genealogy. Ronan doesn't have a genealogy.
God created men in the likeness of God, made he him. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam in the day when they were created. And Adam lived 130 years and begat a son in his own likeness and after his image, and called his name Seth. And the days of Adam after he had begotten Seth were 800 years, and he begat sons and daughters. And all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. And Seth lived 105 years and begat Enos. And Seth lived after he begat Enos 807 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. And Enos lived 90 years and begat Canaan. And Enos lived after he begat Canaan 815 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Enos were 905 years, and he died. And Canaan lived 70 years and begat Mahalalel. And Canaan lived after he begat Mahalalel 840 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Canaan were 910 years, and he died. And Mahalalel lived 65 years and begat Jared. And Mahalalel lived after he begat Jared 830 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Mahalalel were 895 years, and he died. And Jared lived 162 years, and he begat Enoch. And Jared lived after he begat Enoch 800 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Jared were 962 years, and he died. And Enoch lived 65 years and begat Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God after he begat Methuselah 300 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Enoch were 365 years. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. And Methuselah lived 187 years and begat Lamech. And Methuselah lived after he begat Lamech 782 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. And Lamech lived 182 years and
Lamech.
Say that again? Lamech. Lamech lived 182 years and begat a son. And he called his name Noah, saying, "This same shall comfort us concerning our work,
Noah.
toil of our hands, because of the
And
ground."
Lamech gave birth to Noah, right?
You got it. And Lamech lived after he begat Noah 595 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Lamech were 777 years, and he died. And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begat Shem, Ham, and Japheth. I don't know. Well, that was it, Genesis 5. You add up those numbers when people were born, and you come up with the date. Well, what is the date? 1,000 something or other. Evolution is a joke.
One is 1,656 years. 1,656 years. If you add it all up, that's what it is.
Okay. So what is your point? If
That
we're
we
all-
have the
if we're-
genealogy, and this is history, by the way. That's beyond known secular history, or quote unquote secular history. This is, in other words, secular history goes back 5,000 years, and biblical history goes back 6,000 years.
But our world is older than that. You pointed that out.
How do you know it's older than that?
Because when you posted the image of the strata layers, you were pointing out that was 6 million years ago, that was 5 million years ago, so on.
No,
and so forth.
that's an assumption. That's the assumption that I'm disproving.
Again, you're mixing what is in your mind with what is in reality. You showed a reality.
Ronan,
claimed it
answer me
was a
this,
reality.
Ronan. Answer
You-
me this question, Ronan. Answer me this. If you have consecutive water deposited layer one on top of the other that were deposited in rapid succession, and they're all soft layers, how could they be millions of years apart?
Because it took time for those layers to
But they were
build.
soft layers. They were soft layers because they were all bunched up and they bent.
Okay, I made this point before. Presuming your information in the model, I'm using that. I should be able to go into my backyard. I'm in South Texas, and I should be able to dig down and find gold, platinum, diamonds, oil,
No,
every value.
you can't.
gem
You can't
or
dictate.
material. I can't do that.
You can't dictate what's going to be in those layers.
But you said it was all one happening. It all came down in layers, so it would be consistent around the world, according to your statement. So any one of us could go into their yard, dig down, find
But
gold.
why
oil,
does it have to
platinum,
be
silver.
the same all over the world? Why does it have to be the same all over the world? Why can't it just be whatever was there was deposited?
Because you said it was distributed in soft layers. That means at one time during one flood. So using that, I should be able to find gold in my backyard.
No, because you can't dictate what's
I'm
going to
not-
be
look,
deposited.
No, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm using your information and asking questions based on what you presented. And
You're
it
trying
doesn't-
to dictate. You're trying to say what had to be, what had
No,
to
you-
happen.
No, you
What you
said-
see, Ronan, is exactly what happened, not what you wish would happen. It's what did happen.
again.
What you
I'm not
see in
saying-
those layers beneath you is exactly what happened.
No, I've never said it didn't happen. I said I'm using your model, and based on your model, what you're saying, I should be able
My
to go out.
model is that the sediments were shifted, existing sediments were shifted and redeposited. That does not demand that there be equal distribution of everything in every layer all over the world.
Again, it just doesn't add up in reality after you showed me.
Oh, what you're demanding is not reality.
No, I don't imagine. You know, I accept
You're
you.
demanding something. You're demanding that it be a specific thing when that's not what was deposited.
What was deposited then?
Whatever is there beneath you, that's what was deposited.
But you had said a uniform layer.
No, what do you mean uniform layer?
That's what you said. I'm going by
What
what
did I
you're
say?
saying
Did I
to
say
me.
uniform? Did I say
No.
uniform layer?
Yes, sediment deposits.
No, I said
All the sediment.
consecutive layers,
It would be
consecutive layers of
no.
all water deposited sediments, one on top of the other, which were subsequently bent before they hardened. Many of them,
Okay, so how do you explain fossilization then?
because whatever was living at the time was buried in those sediment layers.
How
But
do you
it does-
explain fossilization if things just die on the road and
So-
then they turn into dust?
Whatever you see in those layers is what was living at the time of Noah's flood.
Yes, but some of those fossils have been dated into the millions and tens of millions
So
of years.
there's something wrong with the fossil dating, isn't there?
No, the science is pretty accurate.
Because if you carbon date the fossils, they have carbon in them,
Well, no, they don't. They don't have
Carbon
carbon.
dating is
and they're not
That-
supposed to have carbon in them.
evolution don't rely on carbon dating.
They have
If you watch the recent videos that were put up, the scientists now are admitting that there's carbon.
But well, you're basing it on one test. There's other dating methods.
Hold on, let me see what Iger, what were you trying to say, Iger?
Basically all the carbon dating,
What were you saying, Iger?
all the carbon dating methods, they're all fake.
I didn't hear you. It didn't come through.
Can you hear me now? Well, basically,
What were we talking about, Ronan?
Well, no, we were talking about carbon dating. Carbon dating isn't the only method used to date fossils, but they
Right,
don't
but
use.
you can't. But
they
you can't
don't
deny
use-
carbon dating, though.
No, they
You
don't
can't
use.
deny it. You can't
they don't-
use it on one hand and deny it on the other.
No, again, different methods. It's like having a different wrench for a different size bolt.
Right, but
Okay,
if there's
so another wrench can date further back versus carbon dating, which is limited.
well, those are guesstimations too. Those are guesstimations too.
No, it can't be a guesstimation if a whole group of scientists from all over the world.
They're
did the
all
same-
guesstimations.
No,
All of those radiometric datings have assumptions in them.
no, different scientists from different disciplines came up with answers. They came up with answers, and when they compared notes, they realized that the notes were in agreement.
Because we know
And that's how they
we know
developed.
when the sediments were deposited, though. We know exactly when the sediments were deposited.
Again, now we're going to sediments. Again, if that is true, was it a uniform deposit throughout the world?
Why are you insisting that it has to be uniform sediment layer? The one sediment layer will cover like half of the United States, but
because-
it won't cover the entire continent.
Because the claim is it was one global flood. I'm going by what you're saying.
With many different sediment layers.
Yes, and what created them? The flood?
The flood deposited many different sediment layers all over the world.
Right there, you said it. The flood deposited many different layers. So if that is true, I should be able to go and dig in my backyard and find gold, platinum, silver,
No.
diamonds, oil.
No,
But
because
you-
they're not uniform. They're not uniform sediment layers. They're
But
just
you said that.
whatever. No, I didn't. You said uniform.
You just said that.
You said uniform. I didn't say uniform.
Yes, you just did.
No, I said they're different layers in different parts of the world.
But would they land uniformly if it was one flood?
Yep. Did we
Oh.
lose Joe Jorgen again?
Man, I think he went to get some water.
So, how old do you think the world is?
What's that, please?
How old do you think the
Knocks me
world
out.
is?
Ah, he said something right at the end that you were saying. So, could you repeat that, please?
How old do you think the world is?
Um,
Ronan.
We thank you. The world, I think it's what is 4.6 billion years old.
And how did you come up with
that's a guesstimation. Don't use unverified measures, because that's totally unverified.
Well, he was asking me questions, to get some clarification. So,
But you can't clarify something with giving a guesstimation that's
well,
not verified.
you're interrupting his questions, and I'd like to answer him. So,
No, I didn't hear because I was knocked off. Go ahead.
thank you. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so I asked him how old does he think the world is. He thinks it's about 4.5 billion years old, and I wanted to know how does he come up with
I
this
can't
number?
hear anything.
What's the scientific method behind determining that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old? What's the experiment? How do we verify this for ourselves?
Okay, it's not one experiment per se; it's a lot of them.
Okay.
And a lot of
Name
scientists.
one. Is there one I can do right now in my
I'm not
backyard?
even hearing what he says.
You lowered my volume earlier, Jungle Jurgen. You got to turn it back on, I think.
No, he's interrupting you, so you can't get your statement out. Or question, should I say?
No, when I first
I
started,
can't even hear what he's saying.
he lowered my volume down on his screen. So, anyways, what's an experiment I can do right now, Ronan, to prove that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old?
Well, you don't have to, because the information has already been printed.
What's the experiment?
Well, a simple experiment is to travel to the Grand Canyon.
Okay.
In
and
America,
how looking at the Grand Canyon prove that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old and not formed during the flood about 4,400 years ago?
because if you look at all the sediment layers, there's a lot of them in the Grand Canyon. Have you seen images of the Grand Canyon? All those lines going horizontally.
Yes.
Okay, those are different. No, those are different sediment layers.
How do you know
And
how old each layer is?
because they figured out how long it took
Who is
for
they?
the sediment. Huh?
People that you come from a fish?
I come from what, please?
Who is they? You said they already discovered this. There's papers.
Well, basically, it would be geologists.
It's not the same people that tell you come from a fish that turned into a bird, that turned into a rat, that eventually turned into a monkey, that you came from 200,000 years ago. And
No, those would be genealogists.
Figured it out a long time ago. There's papers. There's no actual experiment you can verify yourself that you come from a fish or that rock can come to life.
No, now you're talking about abiogenesis, which is before actual life happened. What we understand as life. We're talking bacteria at that point. Small single cell.
5 billion years ago, the Earth cooled down and rained millions and millions and millions of years, and the rocks came to life, and then from this micro single cell organism evolved. There's no transitional process. There's no proof of bacteria evolving into anything other than the bacteria. There's no proof of fish evolving into anything other than the fish. There's no proof of chickens evolving into anything other than the chicken. So it's all based on assumptions. And just because somebody wrote a nice paper 200 years ago, because that's where most of your evolution Big Bang cosmology comes from, is from around the 1800 era. So just because an old man back in the 1800s wrote a paper to believe it's true, and it's not something you can ever verify for yourself.
Well,
Okay.
Well, no.
I can't hear,
Go ahead, please.
I can't hear a thing. What are you saying?
Well, no. What you're mixing different disciplines. Okay, if you say evolution, well, that's one thing. But then if you go to genealogy, that's another thing. There's a lot of different disciplines in science, and they all appear to agree with each other based on their own information being compared to other information. And then there's a consensus involved where they all agree. If you look at the geologic column, you'll find simpler life forms at the bottom and more complex life forms. The column goes up.
You
You'll
also
never-
find trees that cut through different of these layers. So how can a tree stand up through millions of years for each layer to be formed?
Oh, okay. That one there, that tree trunk, right? If it was petrified, it would last that long. And just a simple shifting of the earth, like earthquakes, could have moved it up, right? And then another layer formed over that.
So it's more rational to think that a tree petrified without being buried, mind you, because you're seeing the tree petrified first, and then it got layered by multiple layers of these imaginary millions of years periods. That's more logical to think that the tree petrified than to assume that the tree petrified when it was buried during the flood about 4,400 years ago.
Well, again, because it takes much longer for petrification or fossilization, right? We're talking millions of years. So if you're saying Earth is only 6,000, it doesn't add up scientifically. The point is, again, because you're basing it on what you think, not know, in reality, right? You're saying, well, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Fine. If you could disprove it, right, when science welcomes you to try to disprove what's been established, you're going to get a Nobel Prize and $1 million. So if you know no one has done it yet, in other words.
Gonna happen. They're not gonna give you nothing because anything that contradicts the evolution or the Big Bang cosmology, you're not gonna get any kind of award or Nobel Peace Prize. Actually, it's the other way around. If you discover imaginary concepts, that's when you get the Nobel Peace Prize, such as black holes, relativity, and things that nobody can ever prove, but they make a nice paper and discredit the Bible. Those are the things that get pushed through a mainstream media and the things that get awarded. Not people that support creation in the Bible. All that evidence is buried. They found Noah's Ark in Turkey about 30 years ago, but it's never been shown to you in the mainstream media. There's many the Turkish government even has a little visitor center for you to go there and take pictures, and there's it's fascinating how so many discoveries of the Bible are never mentioned to you in the mainstream media. Everything gets buried in occult because they want you to think you come from a fish and nothing explosion, and they want you to believe that they figured it all out about 200 years ago. And you're never gonna question anything. You're just gonna keep on assuming that everything your kindergarten teaches you is your teacher's telling you is the truth, when none of it is true. It's all based on assumptions in that they said this, or how do you do this experiment? You don't know what experiment there is to prove that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old. You're assuming somebody smarter than you a long time ago, but you can't recreate any experiment to prove that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old. Your best thing you told me was to go look at the Grand Canyon. That was your best experiment, that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old. You look at the Grand Canyon, and by looking at the different layers that it was formed, but easily you can argue that the Grand Canyon was formed quickly when the waters from the flood were regressing.
No, because again, you're saying it's an assumption. It's not an assumption. Again, if different scientific disciplines found information, and when they shared information, they realized that their information agrees with itself. So then science established what's called a consensus. They agreed to it. and then that's when they show it to the students.
Okay. So what's I know you think the Earth is 4.5 billion years old, roughly, but how did life come to be then? You said abiogenesis earlier. Can you explain to us what abiogenesis is? How does rock soup come to life?
Okay, abiogenesis, right? Okay, we're just talking abiogenesis, not evolution. Evolution came later. Okay, in abiogenesis, the way science has explained it, there was a primordial ooze, right? All of these chemicals were mixing together, right? And at one point, electricity struck and basically formed a basic compound, RNA, which can self replicate. And over time, we're talking billions of years, right? It became more and more sophisticated because the organism adapted to the environment over time. If it started to rain more or rain less, that organism at that place would adapt to the environment. It's called being plastic to the environment, right? And over millions of years, each generation had to adapt to that environment. So they developed differently. Some took on flight, some took on running, for example. That's how that works in evolution from the bottom up. It's called organic.
So you're saying we came from a goo 4 billion years ago, and this
Yes.
goo came to life.
Yes, that's it's been already done scientifically, right? In a lab.
It has not been
They've created simple life forms in a laboratory.
from
They've
using previous life forms. They didn't create life forms from nothing, from
Okay,
rock.
no, because you get chemical interaction if you mix sodium and chloride, which is salt, right? That's a chemical reaction, right? It made
What's the
salt.
experiment? What's the experiment that you think has recreated life from rock soup?
From life from rocks.
Yeah, you're saying that they've done it in a lab. Where is
Yeah,
this?
yeah. I'll be right back. Let me look it up.
Uh, that they can recreate life from nothing.
Okay, it was the Miller-Urey. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Urey experiment, or the Miller experiment, was a chemical experiment that simulated conditions thought at the time, 1952, to be present in the early Earth and tested chemical origins of life under those conditions. That's one. That's one experiment.
So you're saying he made non-living matter come to life?
Well, yes, because of all the elements and chemical compositions there are, something has to react. And that happened over time, a long period of time, and it slowly evolved from simple RNAs, the single cell organism, to multi-cell organism, to more complex organisms over a long period of time.
Sounds like bogus hocus pocus to me.
A lot of magic going on there.
Magic.
Testing something is not magic. It's an experiment. Magic is what you're promoting because you can't follow it up with any information that can explain something versus just saying, no, that's not true, or it didn't happen that way. You would give me like the Miller-Urey experiment, for example, just now. Right, but you're not doing that. And like I said, I fully accept that it's, a figment of your imagination. Man has that.
Miller-Urey.
You have the right to your feelings, but when you proclaim or claim that it is reality, that's where you really hit a wall, because you're not explaining anything. All you're doing is claiming and denying. It's two
No,
different things.
no, we
You can't-
have the evidence. We have the evidence of
Okay, what is it?
geology, genealogies, and everything you see that requires a greater power.
Again, the evidence or that you presented disagreed with what you're saying.
No, everything does require a greater power.
See that there you're doing it again. You would have explained it to me by now, and I would have been silenced, and I would have changed my mind. But you're not able to do that because
You should be silent. You should be silent because you're not making any sense and you're not listening to what we're saying.
I'm listening to every word you're saying because it's important to me to try to understand your position. Okay, you're just discounting what I'm saying without providing any counter evidence or refutation. That's all I'm asking you to do. And all you do is keep reverting back to your original statements, and that doesn't really explore, right, any possibility of my, changing my position.
You have to go by the evidence. You have to follow what evidence we have, Ronan, and you're not following the evidence we have.
I've already listened to you just now, and if all you're doing is repeating yourself, I can't
Okay.
accept it as evidence.
Okay, the evidence is that everything requires power and all power requires a greater power. Are you following the evidence?
No, well, see, no, that doesn't make sense because it's been a constant.
It
It's been
makes
a
sense.
It's been
What doesn't make sense? What doesn't make sense?
because do you understand the first law of thermodynamics?
No, just answer the question.
Well, that's just it. If you can't violate that law, it's a natural law.
So yeah, but you can't tell me how you get power without a greater power. How do you get a power without a greater power?
Because the way science explained it to me, there was a singularity, and then there was a great expansion. They call it the Big Bang.
Without
from-
any power?
From
Without any power? That happened without any power?
no, again, that science does not look into what it cannot measure, so it doesn't even think about a God. Okay, it's
No,
goes
but
with what it-
all power has to come from a greater power, though.
okay, that's what you're saying, but you have no evidence
No,
for
that's
that.
what the law of thermodynamics says.
No, the first law of thermodynamics says energy cannot be created or destroyed.
Exactly. So it has to come from a greater source of energy.
No, it's a constant, like the speed of light is. It's a constant.
Okay,
That's
where did that constant power come from?
Again, the singularity. Man does not know what happened before science. My apologies. Science does not know what happened
So
before
then
that.
you can't tell us anything because you don't know what to say.
Yes, I know what to say because if I don't know something before that, I just don't know it. Science doesn't know it yet. It may
So
find
there's nothing you can tell me. You can tell me because I know that all power comes from a greater power because it can't make its own self.
okay, fine. So, but based on what you just said,
So I just told you something that you can't deny.
again, I'm going by what you're saying. I'm not denying it or accepting it. I'm just saying, based on what you're saying, a greater power, that greater power had no control over the outcome, none
Hello,
whatsoever.
Mitchell.
I can
Hello, Mitchell. How you doing?
give you an
Go ahead.
example. Let me give you an example. That power that gave power was God. You're God, right? And he did
No, it had to be a greater power, right?
again. But if it was a greater power, again, I'm using your model. I'm not saying what I'm saying.
Yeah, so it has to be a greater power.
Would you let me finish my statement, please? Again,
No, but you don't like where this is going. You don't like where this is
no,
going,
I'm
do you?
agreeing with you and using it in your model. I'm not discounting it like you're discounting what I'm saying. Based on what you're
No, but you're not saying anything. You're not saying anything of substance.
well, you're interrupting me. I'd like to basically continue.
No, you're not saying anything of substance. Go ahead and say something of substance. Where does the power come from?
Again, based on the law of thermodynamics, the first law, You cannot create or destroy.
It can't make itself. Exactly.
Again, again, science doesn't look at anything beyond reality. What we understand as reality.
That is reality. Reality is the power from
Okay,
everything that we see.
Again,
That's the reality.
Yes, let me continue, please. But the thing is, if I use your
No,
mind,
you just don't. You just don't want to go where you have to go.
no,
That it goes to the infinite power resource.
you're interrupting me so you can avoid the explanation. Okay, that's what you're doing right now, and
That's what
I
the
know that.
evidence shows.
I know that, and I'm being very patient with you, and
That's what the evidence
like that
shows.
because I'm a patient person. So the point being, if your power, whatever you
Who's
call that power,
I'm
created,
patient with you.
if your power created what we basically witness ourselves in life, then that power had no control over the outcome, because if it created everything, it would include homosexuals. So it was
That's from a lack of power. People said
no,
from a lack of power.
no. Again, you're being
Don't
you're interrupting
don't
me.
stumble.
You're interrupting me to avoid reason. That's the
Don't stumble. I am reasoning. You're not giving me any reason.
no. You ask me questions, I answer you. Well, I try to answer you, but then you don't
It's
explain
from
it to me.
a lack of power. That's not
Okay,
from
you
power.
tell me I'm wrong. I want you to explain why I'm wrong, and you're not doing
I just
that.
did. I just did. It's from a
No,
lack of power.
that's not an explanation. That's just denial.
No, it's from a lack of power. It's not from any. Anybody can make mistakes. Anybody can sin. Anybody can fail. But not everybody can do what's right. You have to have power to do what's right.
No, that no. Again,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
basing it. No, you're basing it on top down. That's not organic. Bottom up.
I'm basing it on reality. I'm basing it on what things
Well,
are.
reality is organic. Bottom up.
Reality is that all power comes from God. If you're able to do something, it's because God gave you the power.
Again, you have no evidence of that. You would have explained it to me by now.
No, power is the evidence.
Again,
All power requires a greater power. That is the evidence.
no, not in reality.
Yes.
No, it's a constant. It is a constant.
Yeah, it's an
in your life.
infinite constant, which is God.
An infinite constant.
Yeah, God
Well,
is an infinite constant.
Okay, based on that, based on what you're saying, why hasn't God come down again or now and made everything better for people?
Because we destroyed everything by our sin. Now everything's running down and running out, and everybody has to die.
Okay, everybody dies. What then?
Then the judgment.
Okay, that's according to you. Myself is
No.
if I die,
You think you're going to get away with all the lies that you're pushing and deceiving and finagling and everything?
am I
You think you're going to get away?
what do you mean?
You
Yeah,
think you're going to get away with that?
yeah.
You got nothing coming.
No, I can get away with. I can get away with everything.
You got another thing coming because every word is going to be held into account.
So you say.
No, so God says, the Bible says that.
Okay, fine. But I don't believe in that, so it doesn't apply to me.
Sure it does. Applies to everybody because you have a maker.
Wait a minute. It doesn't apply to the Hindu.
Everybody has a maker, so everybody's going to be judged by their maker. It applies to everybody.
But there's different gods in the Hindu tradition.
No, there's only one maker. There's only one power that gave power to all other powers.
Okay, now you contradict yourself by saying
No,
that there's only one.
No, I didn't. There's only one infinite power. There can only be only one infinite power. There's not two.
Well, no, they believe it's two or more.
No, because those two or more got their power from a greater power, which is the infinite power.
Then why don't they say the same thing you do?
It's not complicated. It's because they were deceived. They've been deceived their whole life and been lied to.
Then
Just like you.
why don't they agree with you then?
Because they don't know that all power comes from a greater power. They just think, oh, there's this power, that power, the other power. When in reality, all powers get their power from God.
Okay. So they're doing a very bad job, all of them, to include
Well,
you.
not real bad, because there are powers. They just don't go the step further to realize that all power comes from an infinite power.
Okay.
So it's not complicated.
Well, no, it's not. It's not complicated, but it's not what I accept or practice.
Well, you don't practice the truth. You don't accept the truth.
Again, your truth is different than mine, and that's different
No.
from a Hindu.
No, there's only one truth. There's only one truth, that only your maker can remake you again. Nobody else can. That's the only truth there is. There is no other truth.
Okay, the truth is based on a given perspective, and if you have the fact, the
It
information,
doesn't. It has
You don't-
nothing to
you
do with perspective. Nothing to do with perspective. It has to do with reality,
no,
the
no,
way things are.
a fact can be agreed by all.
The fact is that you have a maker,
My parents,
and they have a maker,
their parents,
and they have a maker.
and if we go that far back, we go back to apes, and then simpler life forms.
No, because we don't have instruction to be apes. We have instructions to be human.
No,
Yeah.
no, we were our branch was not hit by an endogenous retrovirus called trans troglodytes, and the apes stayed the apes, but we developed a brain.
All I know is that chimps have instructions to be chimps, and humans have instruction to be humans, and there is no way to get here from there.
If you give it a few billion years, yes, it happens.
No, a
Or you
few
can
billion
solve
years plus magic.
Huh?
Yeah, you forgot the magic. You have to put magic in there too. Sprinkling
There is no
a
magic.
sprinkling of magic dust.
No, there is no magic. In evolution, there is none.
In evolution, there is. Yeah, you forgot the magic dust. The sprinkling of magic dust.
Well, put it this way: you can't explain it to me. Science has.
I just did explain it to you.
That's not an
Is that we
explanation.
have a maker.
No, that's
We have a maker that
that's a-
ordered us to be humans.
no, that's a claim.
No, it's an observation, because we were ordered to be humans. It's an observation.
No, that's a claim.
No, it's an observation. We can see the written instructions.
Well, then,
We can see the written instructions that make us to be a human. That's an observation.
okay. So, if you're making that observation, you would agree that we're related to apes.
No, because we don't have the same instruction to be an ape.
Of course, we adapted differently.
No, it has nothing to do with adaptations. It has to do with the instructions that you were ordered to be.
No, it doesn't work that way.
Yes, it does. That's the way it does work. It doesn't work any other way, because you can't get instruction from no instruction. You can't use directed things as evidence to no direction.
Again, you're talking a top-down scenario.
Because that's what the evidence shows, top down.
But you haven't explained that. All you're doing is saying, "No, it isn't. No, it isn't. You're wrong," or whatever.
Yes, I did explain it.
I provide information to you based on what you're saying, which contradicts your claim.
No, the evidence is that we have infinite possibilities in limited time and distance, and that's only possible by an infinite potential, which is God.
Okay, that's what you believe, but you can't.
No, it's what I observe. It's what I observe.
No. Again, you can't prove that.
Yeah, I can't prove it because it's observed
By whom?
by everyone. It takes infinite possibilities to make a human, and we exist in limited time and distance. So it's not possible for us to exist by a natural cause. We have to have come from an infinite potential.
No, it's a constant. Again, it's a constant.
A constant. What's constant? Information. Where's
Mm.
where's their constant information coming from?
No. Light and space time are constants.
Yeah, but
Okay.
they're limited time and distance. We're in a fabrication of limited time and distance.
No, the universe is expanding currently.
Quantifiable. We exist in quantifiable limited time and distance. And it's the universe has a start. I mean, the universe is going to end, so it means it had a start. So it means it's limited.
Okay, fine. Let's use that. But within that limitation, right? We existed.
We existed not as a result of a natural cause.
It was a natural cause because we have sex to reproduce.
No, you have to have an organism first.
No, that is a natural cause.
You have to have an organism first before you can have copulations.
No, no. Again, we reproduce. That's how we continue to exist.
We reproduce from the existing information that we already have. We can't make information that's not there.
Right. But then we modify what we are with subsequent generations.
No, we're degrading. You can say we're degrading every generation.
How so? If people are looking prettier and prettier by the century.
It's called because they use makeup to cover up the blemishes.
Now you're joking. Now you're joking.
No, I'm joking, but it's true. It's true. We do have defects, and we cover it up with makeup.
Well, I don't know what brand you use, but I don't use makeup. Again, I know you're trolling.
Well, okay, then your blemishes show. You let your blemishes show.
Again, now you're just being silly.
Oh, I'm being realistic.
No, because you cannot and have not explained it to me. All you're doing is talking in circles. Keep going back to your point, but you don't explain. You don't elaborate.
But see, that's what mutations do. They give you blemishes.
You're trolling.
That's what mutations are. They're blemishes.
You're trolling.
They're blemishes. That's what mutation. That's what a mistake in copy and error is. So it's an error in copy.
No.
It is.
You don't understand mutations because it's basically three types.
It's a copy and error. Error.
Okay, let me ask you the question: how many types of mutations are there?
Well, it's a copy and error, regardless of what kind you call it. You can label it anything you want. It's a copy and error.
But again, if you reproduce, it would have errors and positive mutations and neutral.
Not if it's copied correctly without errors.
If God created it, He's very bad at machining, apparently.
No, I'd like to see you do anything comparable.
Again,
I mean, you should be grateful that you're still alive. That God personally allowed you specifically to be alive, so that you can change your ways, so you can stop making up stories.
I didn't make up a story. I was listening to what you were sharing with me.
Evolution is a story.
But no, it's a fact.
It's a false narrative.
Okay, prove them wrong.
No, they never prove themselves right. That's the whole point of this discussion right here, is that evolution was never verified to any extent.
But yes, it has been verified to a great extent.
Those are just words. You never proved anything.
No, you were the one trying to prove it to me. I was just asking you.
No, I don't have to prove evolution. I don't believe in evolution. I don't have to prove it. You do.
No, you have to prove that your God has control over this.
No, obviously he did have control, because he put everything in order, and now and now because of our sin, he had to let go and let us die.
What? Well, put it this way: we didn't die. We're still reproducing. Actually, the world population has grown considerably since
No,
then.
but we are dying. You think we can last forever? We're not going to last forever. The universe is going to end. How are we going to be eternal?
Well, put it this way: I'm just going to be dead. You say you're going elsewhere to
Oh, well, that's a good point. That's
heaven.
good. And what?
I'm just another
Why,
life.
Ronan? Why are you going to die?
Because it's part of
Because no, because of copying errors.
You're interrupting me. You're interrupting me. You asked me a question, and then
Okay, give me a better answer than you're going to die because of copying errors. Give me a better answer.
No, that just happens. The telomeres get shorter over time.
Because of
how the-
copying errors.
No, that's how the genetics were set up.
No, it's because of copying errors. If you didn't have any errors in copying, you would basically live forever unless you were killed.
No, we don't have the genetics to live forever, like a lobster, for example.
No,
The lobster has the genetics that allow it to live forever.
listen, Ronan, we have apoptosis because the cell is no longer viable because of genetic errors.
No, it's because of repeated copying wears out. It's like a carbon copy.
If there were no genetic errors, if there were no copying errors, there would be no reason to destroy the cell.
It's called life.
I mean, there would be no reason. Yeah, the generation. If every cell copied perfectly, there would be no reason to have to die.
Well, no, that would be a problem because there's no adaptation over time to the environment. So nature takes a chance that way, and that's why we're born with different mutations from our parents, right? Well, total mutation, I think it's 146 different mutations for each generation.
They're mistakes, Rona.
Nature can.
You're in denial. You're in denial. They're mistakes. They're copying errors.
No, if you lived in a mountain, for example, or a high mountain, right? And I went up to your high mountain from sea level, I'd have a trouble breathing because I don't have the capability. My body has not adapted to higher climate with less oxygen.
No, but you talk about response to the environment, which is part of the built-in instructions.
No, you don't know what environment you're going to be in next.
Right, but whatever it is, your body will respond to the environment that you're in. If you eat a whole bunch of stuff, your genome has to cope with it, and if you don't, then it doesn't have to cope with it all that extra food.
Well, no, you're really misunderstanding the whole concept of evolution.
Evolution doesn't exist. It was never proved. Every claim of evolution has been disproved.
Okay, how?
It never happened. It was imagined.
See, that's it. That's your go-to. It just never happened. It's not true. That's not an explanation. This is where you would explain it to me.
Every claim of an evolutionary progression has been disproved.
How?
You never presented one. You never presented a proof of evolution making things evolve. You never proved any evolution.
I have explained various scenarios to you where
you claim. All you do is claim. That's all you do.
No, I explain things. No, I explain things to you. Like
all you do all day long, claim without any evidence.
I explain to you
without any basis whatsoever.
I explained to you that your information of the geologic column disproves your claim because you pointed out, look at this layer. It's 10 billion years old. Look at this layer. You were
No, it's
using
not.
words. You were reading it yourself.
No, it's not. It can't be because there are consecutive layers of water deposited sediments that were subsequently bent before they hardened.
Then why do you keep saying it 10 billion, 6 billion
No, I
years
never
ago?
say that. I disprove that it's 10 billion because of that.
How did you do it if you were using that as evidence?
No, the evidence is of a global flood. The evidence is of rapid deposition of sediments, consecutive layers of water deposited sediments, one on top of the other over a mile deep,
Yes.
which is the result of the global flood. That's evidence of the global flood. That's not evidence of millions of years.
Again, but there have been other floods in other parts of the world.
It's irrelevant.
Again, you're just discounting it for the sake of discounting it and continuing your narrative, which doesn't really convince me or even begins to try to change my mind. You're not providing any information that would lead me down that path to agree with you. Because you are not providing any information that would counter established science.
I just gave you the information. It's consecutive
No,
layers of water
you
deposited
didn't.
sediments, one on top of the other, over a mile deep, with examples of what was living at the time in those sediment layers, which were subsequently bent, which prove that they are not millions of years between the layers.
Again, you're not explaining anything. You're just denying something.
I just explained it.
No, that wasn't.
You're denying
not
what
an
the evidence is.
No, that was your talking point. Regurgitate.
You're denying what the evidence is. I just gave you what the evidence is. The evidence is not of millions of years. The evidence is of a global flood. That's what the evidence is.
Okay, I disagree with you. I disagree. You have
Without evidence.
you don't
Where's your
have no-
evidence?
You have I provided information. You're not explaining it to me.
Where is your evidence?
You can look it up. Man. Science is science.
No. You have to explain in your own words why you believe there was millions of years between the layers.
Okay, because geology has explained it to me.
No.
Scientific.
No. He said, she said is not an explanation.
What?
So and so said is not proof of anything. It's just so and so said.
I think you're misunderstanding science. Science only explains things.
And you're not explaining anything. You're not explaining anything.
No,
You're just trolling all day long, Ronan. That's all you're doing is trolling.
No, I believe you were trolling earlier. But the point being, the point being is that you're making a claim based on deduction. And again, that's your emotions. It is your right to have that, but it doesn't really work in reality.
What doesn't work in reality?
Your belief system.
The consecutive layers of sediments, water deposited over a mile deep with samples of what was living at the time in those sediment layers, all around the world, on every continent.
Okay, you just said it. Again, it's different layers all the way around the world. So that means I can go in my backyard, dig into my backyard.
No, not different layers.
Find gold, diamonds,
They're different sediment layers, Rona. You just said yourself. They're different sediment layers.
Yes, so I can dig down and find all of those things. Yes? You're saying
why should everything be distributed equally?
Because you said so.
No, I didn't say that. You said it.
No, you're trying to transfer responsibility here. No, you're the one saying it, and I'm asking you to explain.
You're trying to build a straw man. You're trying to put in my mouth what I'm saying. You're trying to put words in my mouth that I didn't say at all.
No, I've been asking you to explain it to me, and you haven't done it.
And you're using semantics like uniform 7. I didn't even say uniform.
Well, I was just paraphrasing what you were saying.
No, I didn't say uniform. I
Okay.
said consecutive layers of water deposited sediments over a mile deep with samples of what was living at the time everywhere around the world.
Okay, consecutive, one after the other, right?
Right.
Okay, so
But
it's one after the other.
they're not all the same sediment layers. They're like pancakes scattered all over the world.
Again, pancakes.
All over the
Pancakes.
world.
They're all
Different
again.
different pancakes.
You just repeated that it's
Some
all the
pancakes have gold and other pancakes don't have gold.
okay. You're saying pancakes. Okay, based on pancakes, I should be able to find gold, diamonds, platinum.
No, because they're not all the same pancakes, Roon.
Oh, they're not all the same. They got blueberries, huh? Okay, fine.
Some of them have blueberries, some of them have strawberries.
Okay, okay, fine, fine. A global flood.
Okay, then
And
you shouldn't expect to find gold beneath your feet
well, you said
necessarily.
consecutive. You said consecutive layers like pancakes.
Necessarily. Yeah, like pancakes. They're different
Again,
layers all over the world.
again, but you said some are blueberries, some are strawberries, so I should be able to dig down and find blueberries and strawberries.
If that's what's in those pancakes.
Okay, you said it was distributed,
I said they're different layers all around the world.
like pancakes, which are all the same.
Not
And if and the pancake covered the whole world, which means I should be able to go dig for oil, gold, diamond, platinum, all sorts of precious stones in my backyard. That's what you're saying.
I gotta my phone. Whenever my phone rings, I get kicked off. So am I back? Ronan, you there?
Yeah, give me a minute. I have a knock at the door. I'll be right back.
Okay. I had a ring. I had a ring on my phone. It knocks me off every time one of them marketers call. I have to go back to work. See, I've been a guy on the phone at the gym. Okay, well, let's see. A mind is dependent on instruction, DNA, written instruction. You have to have written instruction to make a physical mind. Everything in biology requires written instruction. It's not haphazard. It's not by mistakes. It's not by chance. It's not by selected mistakes. You can't have selected mistakes to make any direct working thing. It doesn't work that way. Only in your imagination.
No, it's science explaining it to me. You're the one using
No,
imagination.
it's your imagination that you can get written instruction that's not there. It's just totally absurd, out of the question, nonsense, unicorn belief. That's what evolution is.
Again, prove them wrong.
I just did. Just did it. You can't have written instruction that's not there.
Your say so is not evidence.
Yes, it is. The evidence is the written instruction that can't write itself.
Okay, what is your title? Apparently, you're some kind of authority on things. What is your title?
Yeah, my title is that I'm a theologian that has to know everything there is.
No, you're a theologian that believes in something based on
No,
presuppositional standards.
no, you're making a straw man. Theologians believe the truth.
No, again, the truth is based on a given perspective. It is not a fact.
No. The truth is absolute. The truth is absolute. There's only one truth, and it's absolute.
Okay. There are no absolutes in science. Again, they deal with facts.
So there's nothing you can tell me, Ronan. And with your science, there's nothing with it you can tell me. But with what I know, I have a lot to tell you. That only your maker can remake you. Nobody else can. Only God can be your savior. Nobody else can. Nobody else can be.
Okay. The thing is, again,
That's absolute truth. That's absolute truth, Ronan. Don't throw it out.
Again, I side with science, and there are no absolutes.
Science is what you can know, and you just said you can't know absolute truth.
Again,
so there's nothing you can tell me. There's nothing you can tell me because you can't know truth.
No, again, a truth is from a given perspective.
Can you know absolute truth to tell me something that's absolutely true, Ronan?
No, in science, no, there are
there's
no
nothing you can tell me. So there's nothing you can tell me. I can know absolute truth. I can tell you that only your maker can remake you again. Nobody else can. That's absolute truth.
I don't recall the maker remaking anyone. There's a claim about rising.
It happens all the time, Ro. It's called being born. It's called being born again. You're being remade, renewed from the inside out by the power of His true word, as no one else can.
Only because I thought something.
Well, if you think the truth, and respond to the truth and act accordingly,
no, again,
then you'll be remade from the inside out.
Again, but I don't see the point if it doesn't work.
It works all over. It works everywhere around the world with any group of people, every group of people.
No, you're not going to convert a born Hindu to Christianity if that's all that
happens all the time, Ronan. Happens all the time.
Yeah, but it's a small percentage of every group that converts.
It's a small percentage of every group that believes the truth, whether Jewish, whether regardless of what it is. It's the same percentage. It's about 2.5% or something like that.
Again, but
whatever it is.
But
it's not. It's not different. Jewish people believe just as easily as Gentile people, Hindu people, Islamic people. It's the same percentage all around the world.
Again, but they have different belief systems.
Well, but it's not. If you don't believe the truth, it's not going to help.
No, because it's a different belief system. It's a different truth.
It's not going to. It's not going to remake you. It's not going to sanctify you if it's not the truth.
Why would?
Because we're sanctified by truth.
No, but why would I want to be sanctified?
Because if you want to live forever, you have to be sanctified.
No, I'm going to die eventually, like a human or any other living life form. I'm going to die. That's it.
Right, but you're not going to live right.
What do you mean? I'm happy.
Not as happy as somebody that has a clear conscience from doing everything that's right and telling the truth.
So you have a clear conscience about denying what I say?
have a clear conscience because I tell the truth, yes.
No, you have a clear conscience because you know you're going to be forgiven. I'm
no,
not.
Because I practice the truth.
I'm not going to be forgiven based on what I believe.
I have a clear conscience because I practice the truth, because I practice it.
Practice doesn't mean accomplishing anything.
Yes, it is. It's accomplishing doing what's right. That's what it is.
No,
that's why you have a clear conscience.
No, you would have said, "I live the truth." Now that would have been a declarative statement.
No, that's semantics. Semantics, Ronan. I believe the truth. I practice the truth. I do what's right, and that's what gives me a clear conscience because I do what's right.
Okay. So you're clear that when you're proven wrong, that you're,
You
you're
never proved me wrong. You got to prove me wrong.
well, because I use that example of 001 atom, and you saying
You
no, it's
didn't
not
prove. You
there
didn't
because
prove
your
anything.
information disagreed with you.
You didn't prove. You didn't prove
No,
anything
again,
because
it was not my
that's on another tree branch limb.
it was not my
That's not on
it's not my
001.
information. It's not my
I mean,
information.
A00 is not on the same tree that I'm on,
Again,
except
you're bringing up
except when it goes back all the way back to Noah.
you're bringing up your standard talking points without any elaboration. I'm asking
No,
that you elaborate.
you're not understanding what I'm saying. It's a genetic distance. They're individual trees, which I already showed you all over the place. That it's not the same tree branch that we're on.
Okay, so do you realize that you have no chance of even having me consider your position as real? Because you're not
No,
explaining
you
things
don't
very
want to
well.
consider the genetic distance. You're not considering the genetic distance between us.
I do, again, and your graphs disagree with you.
No, because I'm on a different tree branch than the A00 is on. He's
Yeah,
on another tree branch.
right, but it's still part of the same trunk, still part of the same root.
But
So
he's someone living today though, right?
you're part of the tree.
But he's someone living today, right?
Who's living today?
Yes or nay? A00 or A000 was somebody that they took their DNA from that was living today.
No, that was from 1700.
Yes. No.
No, that's what
No, it's somebody that they took the DNA
that's
from.
what
That's
no,
how they know. That's how he's designated the Y chromosome A00 because of the DNA Y chromosome that they took from him.
again, that's your images, not mine. They disagree with what you're saying.
No, there's nothing wrong with what I said. They took DNA sample from someone that was living and designated him A00 or A000.
Well, they traced it back scientifically. They didn't guess, they traced it back using scientific procedures.
Okay, so when you look at the genetic distance, you'll find that he's on a different tree branch than what I'm on,
But you're still part of the same trunk.
going back to Noah.
Fine, you call it back to Noah, fine. But you're still
Right.
part of the same trunk. And if
Going
that
back to Noah, all the way, I'm connected to A00 through Noah.
okay, and A00
So the Y
came up-
chromosome DNA verified our ancestor Noah.
well, A00 came out of Africa.
It doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter his location. What we're talking about is genetic distance and genealogy here. And regardless of where he is in the world, we verify that we have a common ancestor in Noah with our Y chromosome.
Okay. So
The same way I can verify my ancestors that came over here on a boat in the 1600s, I can verify with the A00 that we have a common ancestor in Noah.
okay.
So that's what the Y chromosome proves.
So if everything came from Noah,
Y chromosome, Ronan, Y chromosome.
yeah, so you're related to everyone on Earth then, because the common
Through
answer
Noah.
would be the common answer.
Through
Right.
Noah, yeah.
Right. So you're related to everyone else on Earth.
Through Noah.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm using your model and saying that. So
And it's a totally
we're all related.
on the Y chromosome tree. It's a totally different tree branch he's on. It separates from Noah and goes off into its own direction to the Egyptians or wherever he came from. And mine goes a totally different direction and goes off and ends up in Scandinavia or Scotland. and America,
Okay, but that you're just part of another haplogroup that goes to a common ancestor.
which is Noah.
Fine, it's Noah. So you're related to everyone on Earth.
Well, Ronan, we've been saying that everybody's from the same family all along. That's exactly what we've been trying to tell everybody, that we're all part of the same family, especially when you consider the autosomal DNA. When you consider the autosomal DNA, we're all a mixture of the same thing.
Okay, so before you were saying you're not black, and I pointed out, well, yeah, we're all related, based on what you said, and now you're saying we are related. Okay,
I'm still not black. I have less melanin,
no, but you're related. I'm not saying you are. I'm saying
but we've been saying all along that we belong to the same family, Ronan. That's what we've been saying all along.
No, you were denying being part black
No,
in our first
no,
discussion.
you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm saying my Y chromosome went the other way. I'm not even on the same tree branch as what the Y chromosome black people are.
Yes,
And not all white, Ronan,
but
not all Y chromosomes are black.
but all those branches go to the trunk.
But
That's the
the
point.
D,
We're part of the
the
same
C,
tree.
the C and the D Y chromosome, they're not even black, Ronan.
Okay, fine. That's just another haplogroup from the common.
But they're on the same tree as the A.
Yes, but they're from
The A, B, C, D's, and E's are all on the same tree.
Right, but that's just other branches, other haplogroups.
But they're all related to a common ancestor other than Noah. They're all related to each other through Ham.
But Ham came from Noah.
Yes.
Okay, so we're all related.
But I'm not from my Y chromosome. My Y chromosome doesn't come from Ham.
No, we're related directly or indirectly.
Directly through Noah. Okay. Ham is not my Y chromosome ancestor.
Fine, that's indirectly. Because it's
directly through Noah. It's through Noah.
No, right, but you're just another part of a different haplogroup. But
it's entirely different branch.
No, but you still have to go back to your common ancestor, which means
the point is that we did not descend. I did not descend from A00.
Wait a minute. How could you have not if Noah came after Adam?
Well, the A00 is not Adam.
We agreed that it was.
No, Adam is A through R. Noah is A through R.
That's not what you showed me.
Yeah, on the genetic distance map, that's what's being shown.
That's not what you showed me, though. Put it this way: what you're saying disagrees with what you presented.
No, A00 is on the tip of the tree branch, and nobody descended from A00.
Well, then, no, that's impossible because Adam was related to Noah.
I know it's impossible for anybody to descend from A00 because he's on the tip of the tree branch at the end.
No, you're misreading.
He's somebody living today. How can I descend from him?
No, you were misreading what
Listen, Ronan, A00 is somebody that was living today that they took the DNA sample from.
No. Again, it was dated 1700.
No. They didn't have DNA in 1700. The DNA taken was for somebody that was living in the past 20 or 30 years.
What?
They took the DNA, whenever they took the DNA sample, I guess 10 years or whatever it was. He was living in our day and time, because they took the DNA sample from. That's why they designated him as A00 because that's a Y haplogroup. That's the DNA designation.
Okay.
So if he's living today, how can everybody? Then he's not Adam. How can everybody descend from him? He's not Adam because he's living today.
Because that's the connection that we have via parents.
But nobody in the rest of the world descended from him except for his kids, if he had any.
You're really confused.
So he's not Adam, Ronan. He is not Adam. That chart that I showed you that said he's Adam is a lie. It's a flat out lie.
Then why did you present
And
it?
you can't come to terms with the fact that I proved that map saying that Adam is A00 is a lie.
No, that's not. No, that just doesn't add up. Because
No, your claim doesn't add up. Your claim is nonsense.
I'm not making
Your
a claim.
claim that A00 is Adam is wrong.
No, I was asking you to explain.
A00 is not Adam. Just admit it. Say you're wrong. A00 is not Adam.
Again, that's what you presented, and I accepted that. And Adam came out of Africa. Okay, based on that.
No, you believe Adam came out of Africa.
No,
There was no Africa, Rona.
No.
Adam lived before the flood. Africa is the continent that formed after the flood.
No, I was using your information. That's the point. I'm not trying to bring in my own knowledge about things. I'm using your information, and it contradicts what you're claiming. That's the point. I'm not saying that I say this and I say that. I'm pointing out that you presented this information, and I used that information only to determine what's going on and basically assessing the matter.
Proved that it's not information. I proved that it's a lie. A00 is not Adam. That information that you said is the God's honest truth.
What your chart said
is a lie. It's a lie. I proved it. A00 is not Adam. It's somebody that they took a sample of DNA and designated him as an A00.
But that's
from his Y chromosome.
That's not what you shared with me.
That's exactly what I shared with you.
Right. You shared it with me, and it doesn't agree with what you're saying. It doesn't, because we pointed, and it was Johnny, I forget his last name. It was Johnny and myself, but we were explaining that to you because you weren't looking at the legend in that image and looking where things are.
Okay, let's go through this. Let's go through this again, Ronan. A00 is somebody they took a DNA sample from, right?
No, they worked it back.
Okay, how could they designate him as A00
then? Because that's what geneticists figured out through testing.
Testing people that are living today. You can't test people back in history. You can't test Adam's Y chromosome.
You just gave me a statement saying that it can be traced back through the Y chromosome. That way,
right? But we all have Adam's.
Why?
We all have Adam's Y chromosome, Ronan. I have Y chromosome. A00 has Adam's Y chromosome. We all have Adam's Y chromosome.
Okay.
It's A through R. A through R is Adam's Y chromosome.
Okay, that's what you believe. That's fine. I mean,
no, that's what the evidence shows.
I mean,
the evidence shows that there's a genetic distance between every one of us, and we all connect at Noah.
No, because
that's what the evidence shows.
That's not evidence. That's a claim. Again, you haven't explained it.
No, it's historical records.
From where?
From historical records.
From where? Again, this is where
What do you mean
you.
from where?
This is where
It's
you.
where is your record, Ronan? Where is your record? You don't have any record.
Put it
We're
this
the
way.
ones that have the genealogies. We're the ones that have the historical record. It's the
No,
only historical record. It's the only genealogy that exists anywhere in the entire world. It's the only information that we have. There is no other record. There is no other information.
have you looked? Have you looked?
Have I looked what?
Have you looked for any other?
No. If you think there's another record, you have to bring it.
Well, sure. There's a lot of the genealogies out there from different countries.
And they all go back to the Greeks and the Sumerians, which are all descendants of Noah.
Again, fine. I can accept for this conversation. I'll accept your information as true. However, you are still connected to Adam. Adam originated, based on your information, from Africa.
No, based on a claim, it's in Africa, but
You
there's
posted it as information, facts.
no. I posted it as something that I'm disproving.
No, no. What you are not understanding what you presented.
You don't understand that I just disproved that A00 is an atom
Just
because
because that's
A00 is a DNA Y haplogroup of somebody that they tested that was living in the past 20 years or so.
okay. You're just using talking points. You're not
No,
explaining.
it's not a talking point. It's what they did, Ronan.
No, but you're not explaining
So
anything.
A00 is not Adam.
Do you
He's
really?
somebody living today. He's somebody living today who has a genetic distance from me, who is on another tree branch going all the way back to Noah.
Are you really believing what you say is true?
What's that supposed to mean?
If you're accepting it as true, and that
Accepting
everyone,
what that's true. What? Specific. Be specific.
what you're saying specifically,
What am I saying specifically? What am I talking about? I said a whole bunch of different things.
saying more than one thing. Everything that you're saying is
Be
true.
specific. Be specific.
No, you're being evasive here. Okay,
Be specific. Be
You're-
specific.
you're being evasive. Okay, everything you say is fact according to you. If so, why
Until otherwise proved otherwise. Until
Why-
proved otherwise.
you're interrupting me to avoid facing?
Everything I say is fact until proved otherwise, and you're not able to prove otherwise.
See, there you go. Everything you say is fact. You said, okay.
Until you prove otherwise.
No, you.
So you have to prove.
No,
You have to prove otherwise.
no,
Prove to me that A00 is Adam.
because you presented the chart that said so.
But they can't take DNA from Adam.
You said
So how is A00 Adam when they can't take his DNA?
because you said so. You presented.
No, I didn't say so. I disproved that claim that A00 is Adam. I disproved it.
Okay. Now, if you can disprove it to me, you can disprove it to everyone else in the scientific community.
Probably, if I could
Why-
get you to
Why haven't you done that?
confess you.
Well, no, why
I could
didn't
probably convince anybody if I could convince you.
We'll put it this way: you're not really scratching the surface yet.
Scratching the surface, I proved beyond the shadow of a doubt that A00 is not Adam.
But
Because
it
he's
said
somebody that they tested in the past 20 years.
But it said so on your chart.
So he's not Adam. So it's
But
a
it-
lie. So it's a
but it-
lie.
What? Then
Admit
why
it.
did you-
Admit it, Ronan. It's a
then-
lie.
Then why did you present it as evidence?
Admit that it's a lie, Ronan. Admit it.
No, I can't do that because you're not explaining anything to me. You're just trying to have
Ronan, please.
me, you're trying to change my mind without.
You're being a troll. You're being hard-headed. It's not that complicated. It's
I'm
not
not.
that complicated.
No, I'm simple-minded because
People listening to this conversation are wondering why I'm even bothering to talk with you. Why I didn't even kick you out a long time ago.
well, put it this way: all you have to do is ask me to leave. I'd be happily, open to that.
No, I don't want you to be offended. I don't want you to be hurt, have your feelings hurt. I just want you to admit that A00 is not Adam.
But you presented information that disagrees with what you
So
just
the
said.
information is wrong
Why did you present it?
because I'm showing you that it's wrong.
I'll tell you why you presented it. You didn't study it well enough, and Johnny and I kept pointing that out to you.
Ah, man,
You got
you're
so
being so hard-headed.
you were so
You're being
flustered.
so hard-headed. It's pathetic.
You were
It's
so
pathetic,
flustered.
Ronan.
You were so flustered that the following day
Because
you
if
did
you
another.
admit that A00 is not Adam, you're denying evolution.
You were so flustered that the following day you did another video
You
repeating the
have to
same
deny
thing.
evolution, Ronan. You have to deny evolution when you admit that A00 is not Adam.
Again, you presented the information. I based it on what you presented, and you didn't
I
study what you
presented
had
it
here.
as a lie, Ronan. I presented it as a lie, and I proved it's a lie.
No, that's a ninth commandment fallacy, right?
Okay, so admit that it's a
You're
lie.
lying.
Repeat after me. Repeat after me, Ronan. A00 is not Adam.
I cannot say that based on what you presented.
So you're just going to believe whatever they tell you then.
But
Just
you
because there's a map that says A00 is Adam, you're going to believe it, right?
No, I accept it.
Without any evidence, without even thinking what you're believing, you're going to believe that A00 is Adam just because it is in print. It says A00 is Adam. You're going to believe it.
No, I accepted what you presented as part of a model. And based on your model that you didn't study, it disagreed with you.
Oh man, you're just too pathetic.
Okay,
The map was showing where
look,
was showing where everybody is located, where everybody came from.
but it was your map.
And then it says that A00 is Adam, but A00 is somebody that they tested in the past 20 years.
No, again,
Yes. Yes.
you presented it as fact.
So
And
he's
then-
not Adam.
And then
So
when
he's
it was,
not Adam. Get out of
then,
here.
and then,
Lost. Get out of
and
here.
then
Come on.
when it was pointed out to you, that's when you
Come
started
on.
to deny.
Please, this is too much. You can't be so trollish like that. You just can't be that hard-headed. It's not possible for somebody to be that hard-headed. You have to be a troll. You have to be a paid shill, and this is what we're dealing with. So anyway, let me see what I can find here. A00 is not Adam. Yeah, but the map said it was Adam. Go to the map, you'll see it says A00 is Adam. Star on the charts, early in common. No, it's not. It's somebody that was tested today. It was somebody that was tested today. That's why he got a designation as A00 because they tested his DNA, his Y chromosome. It was somebody living in the past 20 years. Okay, Matt Bond. Let me see what Matt Bond says. Presented wrong info. No, I showed a map that showed. This is the thing. We can only. I'm showing something to disprove that A00 is Adam. I'm disproving that A00 is Adam. That's why I showed it. Because we're not even on the same tree branch. Okay, that's a weird mental jump. How do you figure that? Why don't you jump in here, Johnny Miller. Why is million years so important? Good question. Ronan, ha ha ha. Ha ha ha, troll. Come on. Paige Shill. It's not possible. It's not possible for you to be serious. Because just because I show you a map doesn't mean I have to believe. Anyway, but this is what happens. You come on here to make a dumpster fire of whatever hangout I try to present. You don't want to listen, and you insist that just because I showed something that's what I believe. No, I don't believe it. I'm proving that it's wrong. That A00 is not Adam, but you can go to the map and it'll say A00 is Adam. But when you look at the genetic distance chart, he's on another tree branch. He's on the end of the tree branch. Okay. You got to take care of his kids. No, that's understandable. No rush, no pressure. You did not explain anything by using talking points, jungle, jargon. Thanks, JJ, Ronan, later, Wildheart. Later, Wildheart. I mean, I know this is not that complicated because I can understand it. There's a genetic distance chart that puts him at the opposite end of the tree from me. So how can I be descended from A00? How can anybody be descended from A00 if they swabbed his DNA in the past 20 years? Except for his kids. Yeah, people went to Africa, but the C and the D didn't even go to Africa. They went the opposite way. At least there's not many. There might be a D represented. I'm not sure in Africa, but there's not that many, and I don't even think there's any C's in Africa. And they belong to the same family as Ham. They're all Hamites, and they're not all black, obviously. So the Egyptians, I think, are like the E branch. Those are the Egyptians. Oh wow, there's another one. E is for Egyptian, J is for Jew, and I is for Israel. That is really kind of strange. But anyway, I don't know for sure if I is actually Israel, but that's another thing. Here we go. The only hard-headed one here is JJ. I'll admit to that, but I like to be proven. You got to show to me where I'm wrong. If you can't show me where I'm wrong, then why should I change? I have to be hard-headed. Just because somebody says the A00 is Adam, I'm going to believe it. Anybody else want to join? You can. Like Red Fang. But anyways, it's a nice day today. I hope everybody's enjoying the day that God made, that God gave us to enjoy. because everything comes from his hand. Every ability, every power comes from his hand. All the glory goes to God. And he convinces us to do what's right by the power of his true word, as no one else can. There we go. And that he convinces us to do what's right by the power of his true word. There we go. No Tiger.
Yo,
There we go.
I'm back.
Oh,
Hold
yeah, I can hear you now. I can hear you.
on.
Yeah, sorry about that earlier. I couldn't even hear you. Then I came back, and I guess we talked over you.
That's fine. I was enjoying listening to what you said earlier. I enjoyed listening to your arguments. You got some very good arguments against the 4.5 billion year Earth they teach us we live in.
Yeah, they don't even know what a billion years is.
They don't even
Yeah,
know why. He's like, go look at the Grand Canyon. Like, how does that prove that we live in a freaking?
and another thing, they don't even know what 50 million years is, because 50 million years would have washed all the sediment layers into the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
So so the Earth is not even 50 million years old, because if it was, there wouldn't be any sediment layers from the global flood. They'd all be washed away. And there would be no way to renew them, because there are consecutive layers all the way down. Because you can have local flooding, you can have upheaval, and you can have local flooding, but you're not going to have consecutive layers over a mile deep everywhere around the world.
I hope you're not expecting an argument from me.
No, but this is stuff, well, because people are given a false narrative. They're given a false narrative, so it's like people don't talk about it or don't think about it, and then when somebody does talk about it, it's like, they get all bent out of shape and everything. When you say, "Oh, the Earth is only 6,000 years old,"
Yeah.
they get all bent out of shape. How could that be? Well, there was a thing called creation. When time was created, distance was created by the fabrication of matter, which dilates time and distance. And it's from the creation of matter. And there is no absolute measure of time or distance in the universe, because the speed of light arrives instantly, except when we go to measure it, it takes time to arrive. So how can you say there's an absolute measure of time? There is no absolute measure of time or distance in the universe. It's all relative and subject to change.
Correct. Yep. They tell you that the speed of light is constant, but it's not. You can put water. I mean, if you have light shining through an ocean, it's not going to move at the same rate as if it was shining
Yeah.
through open air. So
Yeah,
it's
well,
some
that's
theoretical garbage that they tell us when we're in school and kids and television.
well the way they define the speed of light is in a vacuum and in a specific reference of time and distance, or in space in a vacuum. And so that's true, but you have dilation of time when by what they call gravitational lensing, but it's still going through the same distance of time and distance, except that there's more time and distance between, or actually time and distance is slowed down and distance is contracted as you near a massive object. So that's what gives the appearance of it slowing, or the gravitational lensing, because when you have a lens, the lens slows down the speed of light. That's what focuses the lens, is that parts of the lens will slow down light more than other parts of the lens. So it has the same effect when it goes around a large mass as if it was going through or taking a longer time to get through the same distance. But it's actually dilating time and distance, where it's shortening the rate of time, and it's shortening the measure of distance as well. So that's why you get the gravitational lensing. It's not real complicated. It's just you have to think through it, basically. But the fact remains is that there's different rates of time and distance. Like so how can you say the universe is whatever they say it is, 13 billion years?
Yeah, close enough. 14 billion years. It really doesn't matter.
13.7 billion years or 8.
It's all made
Yeah.
up. I say
When
14
if you go
billion years old. It doesn't matter.
if you go near a black hole, there's a slower rate of time.
Black
And
holes are theoretical. They don't exist. They have an orange cartoon that they took last year because so many flat earthers were complaining about how black holes didn't exist. That they actually had 6 different radio telescopes that some 20-some-year-old MIT grad interpreted the data from 6 different radio telescopes and brought us up the first picture ever of a black hole last year around the time, and it was an orange cartoon. It was pathetic. I was even I was rooting for a better picture of black.
well, but I think even that was a huge team, a huge collaboration. I think to get all that information because they couldn't even send that data. It was so much data they couldn't even send it over a high-speed line. They had to take the hard drives and put the hard drives all together.
How people can't get into the actual picture when they tell you it's from 6 different radio telescopes. It's just data being interpreted. Which, it depends who's interpreting the data. They could have came up with any freaking cartoon, and it was so bad, man. I was disappointed. I was like waiting for the day when this picture came out. I was like, all right, we're finally gonna see what black holes, this theoretical concept of black hole looks like, and then it was so disappointing. It was so disappointing.
But they actually had a movie. They had a moving picture of the data. They had like it wasn't just a still picture. It was actually a video.
It was a CGI video.
But it was animation. You're right that it wasn't an actual picture. It was just data that they put together from the radio telescopes. But when they look at you know what Sagittarius A star is in our Milky Way? You can actually they observe the stars whipping around the Sagittarius A, so it's got a huge mass to it.
Can you observe stars whipping around Sagittarius A, or is it just NASA and RAXA and JAXA and the other government funded?
They do with the with the data with their imaging techniques. They do. Let me turn this on here. I got to turn my battery on, otherwise my battery's going to run out. Yeah, they actually observe the stars whipping around the Sagittarius A, but it's they have to use radio telescopes to see the stars because they got to see through. They have to use a wavelength where they can see through all the dust and material that's in the way, or other stars and stuff.
I'm trying to see if I find some good pictures of the black hole so I can share with you. It was so funny.
Well, the only thing you have to understand, it's a very, very long distance, and it's a very, very small, comparatively speaking, small object. because of how far it is from us. So it's not going to be a very good picture, whatever they get.
Yeah, Ken Robin says it best when he says, anytime they tell you billions and millions and billions and
How about
trillions, a fairy tale's coming.
but how about the gravitational waves? Are you familiar with the gravitational waves?
That would be again, gravitational waves. They the only people that have proven that gravitational waves exist. It was some kind of experiment done on the International Fake Station that records gravitational waves. Here on Earth, you can't record any gravitational waves. It's only something that can be done in outer space by one of the government space agencies. Nobody on Earth here can detect gravitational waves. There's no actual experiment that you can.
It would be better.
They have
Yeah,
a
it would.
box that's hooked up to the ISS that can detect gravitational waves. That's about it.
It would be better when they put up the interferometers out into outer space when they're able to do that. It would be much better because that way it wouldn't get interference from any noise on Earth that's making vibrations and stuff. But even so, they were able to detect a collision of two neutron stars, and they were able to actually observe the collision with visible light as well. So that was pretty impressive to me as far as being able to detect the gravitational wave. And I'll accept it until proved otherwise.
Can I show you the? Can I share my screen? I was going to show you the pictures of the black hole real quick that I was so eagerly waiting for.
Yeah, I saw the picture of the black hole.
This is it right here. This is the
They
black
had two
hole.
pictures. They have a picture of our own black hole, and they have a picture of Andromeda. No, not Andromeda. Another black hole.
Let's see, that's not this one right here. Picture of the black hole.
Yeah, my image is taking time here.
This is a picture of the black hole there. Lord of the Rings, 430 million. NASA, $20 billion. We get a nice little picture of the black hole.
Wait a minute, I'm missing the conversation here. Somehow. Okay.
Hold on, I think I got another good one. I don't know if I'm still screen sharing, but let's see. Where are you? Oh yeah, this one's good. This is am I still sharing my screen? Can you hear me? Is this thing on or what? Jungle. Yeah, so this right here is the company that did the black hole. EHT Outreach. Notice how the logo has Polaris right in the middle, and there's stars all in the firmament, just matching up the biblical cosmology of the Earth. And all the other ancient civilizations. Here we go, some nice cartoon with the black hole.
Okay, hello?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I'm not hearing anybody. I'm not hearing myself.
Am I muted? I don't think so. Nope. I'm not muted.
Oh, here we go. Take it off. Okay, am I back?
Can you hear me now?
Okay, I hear you.
All right. But yeah, I was having fun with the black hole picture. I don't think you heard it. But yeah, this is the logo of the team that brought us the beautiful picture of the orange, blurry, fuzzy fur that they told us took a picture of the black hole. The logo looks like the biblical cosmology of the Earth. The Polaris is in the middle, and the stars are all around it. There's a base there. You know, all other ancient cosmology kind of is the same. But yeah, we got pictures of stars. If you zoom in with a good camera or a telescope, you're gonna get to see these images here on the left. These are sound frequencies traveling through water, and each frequency gives you like a little different appearance there. This is what we can see from Earth without relying on the 6 government space agencies placed throughout the world: NASA, RAXA, JAXA, and the Chinese one, and I forget the other 2. Oh, ESA, the European one. What do you think, Joe Jurgen? You left us?
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I keep getting kicked out of my own hangout here.
Can you hear me now?
Maybe if I stop messing with the live stream, maybe, yeah, I'll also do. I'll just stop messing with the comments. Yeah, later, Honest Angel. Later, Ronan. Oh, you're not going nowhere. Every time I mess with the chat, I get kicked out. So I guess that's more than my capability here. And my battery's running out too. I had to plug it in.